So let's see what are the steps involved in the stenosis decompression. The first and the most important step is the preoperative assessment of the MRIs and X-rays. The second step, once you go inside and once you remove the soft tissue, the second most important step is the landmark identification. Next comes the bony decompression, whether it's a ipsilateral or contralateral. Then the phleum removal, then the discectomy, and after you have to decide what is the end point of your surgery. So if you look at all these three preoperative cases, all these three MRIs has different pathology, but the plan will be same going on the contralateral as well as the ipsilateral side. So now once you went inside, once you remove the soft tissue from the internal laminar window, now it's time to decide and time to locate the landmarks. So it is very important to locate bony landmarks. So what are the bony landmarks? The first will be the base of the spinous process, then the superior lamina. Once you go down from the superior lamina, then the medial border of inferior articular process, the tip of inferior articular process, and then the inferior lamina. These are the structures which you have to identify carefully. Believe me, if you spend more time in identification of this landmark, the further surgery becomes very easy. So once you identify the bony landmark, now it's time to do the ipsilateral bony decompression. So there are two ways to do ipsilateral bony decompression. Either you can start decompression from inferior articular process to the superior lamina and then to the base of the spinous process, or you can do bony decompression, you can start it from the base of the spinous process to the superior lamina and then to the inferior articular process. Both the ways work. I personally prefer to do start bony decompression from the base of the spinous process. Now once you have done the ipsilateral decompression, you can go for the contralateral decompression. It is preferred not to remove ligamentum fleum before doing bony decompression on the opposite side. So if you have not removed the ligamentum fleum, you can use any type of the burr like the diamond burr, cutting burr, or the hooded burr. But if you have removed the ligamentum fleum and your dura is exposed, it is preferred, it is expected to use the hooded burr, which will prevent your neurological damage. So now you have done the decompression, it's time to do the phleum removal. So there are again two ways to do phleum decompression. You can remove phleum piecemeal, piece by piece with the help of the rongers, or you can remove the ligamentum fleum en bloc. For that you have to detach ligamentum fleum from all around. I personally prefer to remove ligamentum fleum in piecemeal because it saves your time, and the chances of complication, chances of neurological injuries, they are very high if you try to remove it en bloc. So after you have removed ligamentum fleum, now it's time to do the discectomy. So as far as the disc is concerned, there are three parts which you have to take care of. First is the soft disc fragment, second which is the hard annular hump which lies there, and third, in some patient there might be some disc osteophyte complex or the osteophyte. You have to take care of all those three. You cannot leave two behind. So all the three should be tackled. So after you done discectomy, this is the time you have to decide your end point of the surgery. So what is the end point of your surgery? There should be adequate bony decompression. So you should see lateral edge of both the traversing nerve root. If you are doing ipsilateral, on the ipsilateral side, if you are doing contralateral decompression as well, so you should see lateral edge of the traversing root on the both the sides. So you should remove the complete ligamentum fleum. Do not leave any ligamentum fleum either superiorly or inferiorly. Patient might come to you again with the radicular symptoms. There should be adequate disc removal, which I already seen in the last slide. There should be a root decompression till the entry into the foramen. There should not be any tension. In cases where there is a huge central disc prolapse, kindly look for the tension on the dura, or there might be any hard annular hump below the dura. So do not leave any dura under tension. And last but not the least, your surgery should not have any complications. So try not to have any complication at all. So let's have example of some cases. This was the case of L4 L5 central stenosis. You can see here even the disc, ligamentum fleum and the facet, they are all contributing to the stenosis. So what I did stenosis decompression. In this case you can see both bilaterally well decompressed roots on left and right side. So this is the preoperative MRI of the patient, and this is the post-operative MRI of the patient. You can see adequate decompression, adequate bony decompression. At the same time, the bony stalk is preserved here. So inferior articular process is preserved here. So this was the old lady with the severe stenosis. In this particular case, you can see the major part of the stenosis is contributed by the ligamentum fleum. Again, plan in this case would be going contralateral as well as ipsilateral. So I did the stenosis decompression. In this case, you can see the completely decompressed both traversing nerve roots. Again, if you want to compare here, this is the pre-operative MRI and this is the post-operative MRI with complete and adequate decompression of the bilateral node as well as the cord. So this was one of the worst nightmare for me. This was the young chap came to me with the acute cauda syndrome. You can see here there is a huge central disc prolapse, but at the same time there was a global annular bulge also. So in this particular case, you have to address both the pathologies, the extruded sequestrated fragment as well as the global annular bulge. So again, this case I did stenosis decompression with the complete removal of the disc fragment. In this particular case, I had to do discectomy on the both the sides because annular bulge was there on both the sides. So this is the pre-operative MRI and this is the post-operative MRI of the same patient with complete removal of the sequestrated fragment as well as the global annular bulge. So this is the case where there was stenosis at two level, L4, L5 as well as the L5S1 level. So is it possible to do two level decompression from the same incision? Yes, it is very well possible. So I did stenosis decompression at L5S1 and L4, L5 level with the same incision. So the only prerequisite in such cases is having lordosis. If you don't have a lordosis, it becomes difficult to maneuver your scope inferiorly or superiorly. So this was the case where there was a pre-existing stenosis and the acute disc fragment on the left side. But the dilemma here was patient was having pain on the right side. So what will you do? Whether you go on the symptomatic side or you will go on the pathological side. So remember, in such cases you have to always go on the pathological side, not on the symptomatic side. So again, I went from the left side, did the stenosis decompression, discectomy and opposite side decompression as well. This is the pre-operative MRI of the same patient and this is the post-operative MRI. So the extended use of interlaminar endoscopy, this was the case which I already shown, but this patient was having foraminal stenosis as well. So can you do foraminal decompression from the same interlaminar approach? Yes, you can do foraminal decompression. You just need to burr more of the superior, more of the base of the lamina, the superior base of the spinous process, superior lamina and some part of the pars, and you can easily reach to the contralateral exiting route. Good is better than best. So this was the 70-year-old lady having severe left-sided leg pain. If you see X-ray, she is having degenerative scoliosis, multilevel degeneration. Now question here is whether you want to fuse it all or whether you want with the conventional approach, or do we have something else? Yes, we have endoscopy here. So in this particular patient, I feel the cause of her pain is L4, L5 only. So I did stenosis decompression in this patient. You can see very well decompressed traversing nerve root on the both the sides. Now it's been 2 years, patient is doing perfectly well. Just little bit of back pain is there, I think, which is expected at the age of 70, but patient is doing perfectly well. So again, this was the case where the patient came to me with severe left-sided radicular pain. You can see here facets are literally horizontal and the root got pinched between the underlying disc fragment and the facet. Again in this case, I did just I did just lateral stenosis decompression. You can see the root is severely congested here, and that explains the severity of the symptom in this case. So this is the last case where there is a stenosis, pre-existing stenosis, but this patient came to me with agonizing left side leg pain. Even after studying the MRI, I couldn't find the cause of severe pain here. But once I went inside, there was a pointed subannular disc fragment which was just underneath the root, which explained the cause of severity of the symptoms. So yes, you can say all types of the stenosis, which includes lateral recess, central stenosis, as well as the foraminal stenosis, can be very well dealt with the interlaminar uniportal endoscopy. Thank you very much.